The Class 3A and 4A Girls State Swimming and Diving Championships will be down below us in the pool here at Laramie High School coming up on November 5th, 6th, and 7th. So it's the 5th and 6th for 4A, 6th, 7th for Class 3A this year. So it's a Thursday, Friday, then Friday, Saturday. Tom Hudson, who's the Aquatics Director of the Laramie High School pool. I know he's also the Laramie High School coach. This year's a little different with COVID. How are things working with the state meet given smaller attendance, smaller meet sizes this year? You can only have so many kids competing. So what adjustments have been made for state this year to accommodate so many teams all in one weekend?
Well, first of all, we had to apply for a variance for capacity. We have a capacity here of 850 spectators. We have applied for variance to get 350. Okay. So what we're doing is allowing each competitor 2 tickets. And the tickets will be sent to each school, and the school will distribute them to the athletes, and then they'll give them to their parents or grandparents or however that works. So we'll be a little bit under half capacity in here. Other than that, we're doing some things about sanitizing, cleansing. We have to completely clear the pool between the 4A meet and the 3A meet, so we've had to extend the timeline just a little bit to do that. But other than that, we hope to have just a very normal state meet, other than the distancing on the deck and things like that. But the kids have really embraced that throughout the season and understand what they need to do.
As you've been around the state and visit with coaches, how do you think this COVID year's gone adjusting to the smaller meet sizes?
At first it was a little rough, mixed feelings. We were super happy that we were competing just to begin with. And then there was some bad things, a larger team like us or Cheyenne Central or maybe some of your Landers, Green Rivers, they had to leave kids home, and we didn't like doing that. We added kids back in on some JV meets. We were able to accommodate things there, but that was a little rough to exclude a few kids, but we made it work, and we're less than 2 weeks away, so knock on wood, hopefully we can get through this without any cases popping up, and we can finish off actually a very good season.
You mentioned the 350. Where does that number come from if fans are not familiar with it, that you applied for the variance to get that?
The variance was based on just the historic numbers of kids that are competing in a state swim meet, which is generally between 130 to 150, 160. So we just went over it just a little bit to make sure everyone would have a chance to get at least 2 spectators in here. Now we are also going to stream this meet live over the NFHS website. Those details are still coming. We're still working with them on getting the proper equipment in here, and our tech people are working hard at that, but we do expect to stream it live as well.
So if you can't make it, that's another avenue to still be able to watch the competition, because where we are, up kind of where the stands are behind us, this is usually packed. Oh yeah. And I mean, I was here back in February for boys state, and there had to be more than 850 in here because there were people standing all over the place. So you're probably approaching 1,000, I would guess, almost.
We probably were approaching that. Don't tell the fire marshal. I don't know. With the building in whole, the deck can seat almost 600 as well. Okay. So we have a capacity of almost 1,500 people in here when we're full up.
So as you get ready for state, you mentioned the adjustments in between. Does that limit the time spectators can get into the facility this year? Are there certain protocols that fans need to be aware of?
Yeah, that's in the meet information. We're going to open the building 15 minutes before each session, and each session means the start of warm-ups. So traditionally we've had some parents that like to show up early and get their spots reserved and all that, and they can still do that if they want to. Hopefully they don't sit out there too long and freeze. But we will have X's on the bleachers to where they can and cannot sit. They need to socially distance, wear masks the entire time. That's utmost important, that they have to wear masks. And I think most spectators throughout the year have done a really good job of that. They're just happy to be at a swim meet, just like we're happy to be having one.
You mentioned the more time in between, so maybe the meet itself takes a little longer to complete this year? That
will be the case as well. We have our bulkhead out there behind the blocks, and so we will swim a heat, and then that heat will get out of the pool, exit the bulkhead, then the next heat will be up allowed on the bulkhead. And so that'll make the prelims last a tiny bit longer, but we've done that all season long. with the COVID rules, and it's worked really well. It hasn't made things last too much longer, so we should be okay.
Anything else that fans need to be aware of as they're coming to this state championship under new rules for the first time?
The biggest thing is you got to have a ticket. If you don't have a ticket, you're not getting in. You can't lose your ticket. You can't have excuses. You got to have that ticket, because we've been given a limited number of those, and so they're valuable. So don't lose it, please.
So if you get a ticket, make sure you know where it is at all times, including on the way to Laramie if you're coming from outside of town. Again, the championship's Thursday, Friday for 4A this year, Friday, Saturday for 3A, and again, a little bit longer, deeper time in terms of when the finals end on Friday for 4A and when the prelims begin on Friday for 3A, and of course the finals will be Friday for 4A and 3A on Saturday. So Tom, thanks so much for kind of explaining some things, and hopefully this message gets around to swim fans around the state.
Let's hope so. Looking forward to a great state meet. Thanks, David.
Appreciate Tom Hudson from Laramie High School and the Aquatics Director here for giving me some information to help fans out at the State Swim Championships coming up not this weekend, but next weekend.